How does it make you feel to see this show? Because people doubted it, right? I mean, you know, it comes on the interwebs initially.
Yep.
And you're not talent, you are a business person, you are a producer.
Yep.
And now all of a sudden you're moderating this thing. And so what did the folks say to you, Deirdre, when you said, oh, I'm going over to do this show? What did your folks in the business think?
You were at MTV, right?
Yeah. So I was at MTV. And I actually was offered a Teen Mom reunion, was my other job offer. I feel like I made the right choice.
Right. But he's kind of like a teen mom at this point.
I'm like a geezer mom at this point.
But I was a fan of Bravo, so I had seen Andy host a couple of reunions at that point. So I felt really excited just because it was content that I was already watching, and MTV I had outgrown. So I didn't have really those doubts about it working. I couldn't have imagined it turning into this after 10 years.
I remember Gawker calling it a masturbatory talk, my masturbatory talk show.
Yes.
So we were fighting a lot of that when it started. And we were on once a week at midnight. We got a 10-week pickup, I think.
So I was thinking it was a summer job, basically.
Yes, we all thought it was, and it had the ratings. I was still an executive at Bravo, so I got the ratings in the morning, and I knew that if the ratings were not good, we would be gone in a second.
But we were 4 people behind the scenes. It was, very small staff. It was inexpensive. I think it probably looked that way. And we're
still not breaking the bank.
Right.
No. But I think it allowed us to grow and find our footing. And by the end of that summer, I think we did feel like there's something here. People were talking about it. Twitter was kind of new at the time.
Yeah.
And we were doing the two-way conversation, like asking people the questions people were asking on Twitter. And we were looking at people's comments, and they were excited. And this is kind of was answering a lot of like fans' needs, I guess.
What, to you, Andy, what has been the secret sauce of Watch What Happens Live, especially during the early days? What's that thing that kind of really set you guys apart and really made people want to tune in, made it appointment TV? Because at some point, it really did become this thing where people were like buzzing about this new show with this guy.
I think it was a mix of 2 things. I think it was live. It was so... It looked like Wayne's World. I used to describe it as Playboy After Dark meets Wayne's World meets Larry King Live, basically. And we leaned into what I call kind of high-low culture.
Yes.
For me, the stars in my world are Sarah Jessica Parker and Nene Leakes.
Right.
And so you can decide who's high and who's low, but it's... And to me, those, you know, the reality stars were the big stars, and they still are, but so are Meryl Streep and Oprah and all the other people who have come on the show. So I think us leaning into it, the guest combos was really unique, but also I think the authenticity of the show, the fact that we were drinking, the fact that it really looked unscripted, and it was unscripted, and anything could happen. So we could go on the air and the guests could be completely, I can say shit-faced here. And people on Twitter, all of a sudden we would be trending worldwide. And I remember once, we had a little 227 reunion.
Oh my God, that was
Jack
one of the most iconic episodes.
And Regina King, and I remember they were so drunk. And I remember during the first commercial break, Deirdre in my ear said, "Wow, this is wild." And I was like, "I don't have control of them. This is horrible." I really thought this is so bad. And she said, "Andy, this is amazing television." Yeah. Deirdre is unflappable. Definitely. And I think her comfort with live television has given me a great comfort. And I worked in live television at CBS News for 8 years, so I was certainly comfortable in the control room at the morning show and knowing that we were, launching this plane every morning for 2 hours. But Deirdre's truly unflappable, and we have stuff happen all the time, and it's good because there's never a time when both of us are freaking out at the same time. Usually one of us is grounded and okay.
Yeah.
And I think both of us are problem solvers, and so we can move on. If we lose a guest before the show or whatever, I mean, we will figure it out quickly. And we both kind of lived by the creed that, we know there's always going to be another show tomorrow.
Yeah.
So, and sometimes the biggest screw-ups wind up being the things that people talk about and that we wind up having the most fun with.
And it's what people are watching for.
Yes. I mean, we've had fire alarms go off. We've had the lights go out. I remember Hurricane Sandy. I mean, you were one of the first people to find us another studio. We were one of the first shows to get back on the air live.
We didn't air. Remember the Sheree when we did the black tie?
Oh my God, we were doing this She by Sheree black tie extravaganza early on. And I'm in black tie with Sheree Whitfield.
Yes.
It was the night.
And she was wearing She by Sheree.
She was wearing She by Sheree.
Yes.
And I remember during the first commercial break, Deirdre said, "Can you come into the hallway? I have to tell you something." And I was like, "Okay." And I went in there and she's like, "We're not on the air." There was some problem. I don't know what it was.
Still don't know what happened.
I still don't know, but they were airing like the Matthew Broderick episode from the week before with Matthew and Lisa Vanderpump.
I was like, but carry on like it's still happening.
Oh my God.
And I didn't tell, and Sheree's like, "My tweets are really weird. People are saying," I'm like, "Don't pay attention to that."
Right. You found a lot of talent out there. Is there ever a time when you're looking at the folks that you found and you think, "I should have left you right where I found you"?
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
Is there anyone in particular that
usually
your biscuits?
Usually though, there are times where I am on a deep fry on the skillet, and I am like, ugh. And then usually it ebbs and flows, because there's always reward. I'm always rewarded too. Sometimes relationships can get frustrating, but there's a reason these people are on television.
Now, everyone believes to this day that you are the power that bees with anything that has to do with Bravo.
Right, I know, and I'm not.
And you're not.
Yes.
When you gave up that position as the head of programming, what was that a tough thing for you to do?
It wasn't, because we had been on 5 nights a week, or we were getting picked up for 5 nights a week. And it is incredible that I was able to do that job while we were on twice a week.
Yeah.
And then
I resented that they wanted you to come into work every morning.
I didn't because I never wanted them to think that I thought that I was worth more to them as an on-air talent than I was, because
look at how humble he is.
Well, but that's true. But it's also, I just didn't want to lose my day job and then lose all my jobs. I mean, I just always realized if the ratings go down, this will get canceled, and I am a TV producer. That's what they hired me for. So I was always very careful with that. And when we got picked up 5 nights a week, I still stayed on at Bravo for a year or 2 as head of development. And it's kind of a wonder that I was able to do that job, which is a full-time job, while doing the Watch What Happens Live. But so when I left, I did keep an executive producer role on The Housewives, because it just was too important to me to remain on that show. And so I love that job as one of my jobs that I have. I love that I still do that job.
Yeah, and we love that you're there too.
Thanks.
Keeping the train a-running.
Right.
A runaway train most of the time, but it's a running. I think that you guys have done a really great job. I'm just gonna call it out. There are certain late night shows that really are not that inclusive. And oftentimes they will have people on who are of color or who are part of the LGBTQ spectrum once they've hit it. You know what I mean? Like they get big and then they're like, yes, no one can deny you, come on. But you guys have always really kind of been very inclusive and welcoming to everyone. So let's talk a little bit about that. Is that like a mandate? Is that just an unspoken energy that you guys have?
I think it's, look, I think that we're a place where we both in front of and behind the scenes, we let our freak flag fly.
Yeah.
And we lean into that.
Yeah.
And I'm the only gay guy on late night television.
Yeah, can we applaud for that?
Thank you. And so I think there are people just that maybe are on my radar that maybe wouldn't be on the radar of someone else.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Yeah, and I think that sometimes it becomes that they're fans of the show, and that's like an exciting thing. You know, that's enough. So we have people come on that haven't broken big yet, but they like talking about what we like to talk about. So that's, you know.
A lot of times we just hope, oh God, please come back when you break it big.
Right, exactly. Well, it's called the layaway plan. It's what I call it.
Yes.
You know, you're investing in people early on.
Yes.
Don't forget, mofo. No, it's so funny because Billy Porter was just on my show. I was like 15 minutes late for my Billy Porter interview. And so my producer's freaking out, and I called Billy Porter on his phone, and I'm like, he's like, bitch, where are you? I was like, it's raining, I'm in traffic and everything. He's like, I got a tight schedule. I said, Billy Porter, don't forget 3 years ago when you came up to Sirius XM, all them people didn't want to talk to you. He's like, okay, I got it, bitch, I'm waiting. I said, okay.